Hi there, thanks for joining me. So today I'd like to talk about my translation progress for the past couple of weeks. I've been pretty quiet for a couple of years, and then, as I said in my last video, I've been using AI to kind of poke at some of my, pre-existing stalled projects. So progress is pretty rapid right now. So we're gonna just go over some of the things that have happened in this short period of time. Let's take a look at these public-facing things first, and then we'll go into some of what I've been working on behind the scenes. For starters, Become a Patchy Pro Pachio-kun has been released. So this was my announcement about a translation patch release. You can get this from GitHub. I did also submit this to romhack.ing, so it's available at both of those places. But you'll see here that I also did an update to this, a 1.1 bug fix patch. So this is an update that should fix an intermittent issue with the yes/no prompt. This gentleman here, Cress, made a video about my new project. I'm not sure how loud this is, but I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. So yeah, so you can see here I had it right on this little issue here, which is he gets stuck on this yes and no prompt. And I had something like that happen too on one of the yes or no prompts. So it's an intermittent issue. And because of that, like I hadn't actually triggered it during my initial playtesting. But of course, when we're recording videos, that's when you you run into these types of bugs. But what it said is, the original yes or no exit code does this for either answer. So for either yes or no, it increments, whatever a value, and to advance it or restore the dialogue row, it sets a carry and then it returns, right? And so we set the carry result and then we reset the line counter and then return. But it says that we accidentally emit the DD value, the increment DD. So that seems like it was probably the issue. Um, you know, this is one of those things where, like, if I don't know how to write ASM, assembly code for the processor on the Famicom, right? That's why I have somebody else do it, and why I have AI do it. And it doesn't get everything right all the time. But it seems to have hopefully correctly identified this issue and fixed it. So yeah, hopefully this is it. If it isn't, please let me know. I basically say, if you encounter this issue, report it to me. Because I would like to know, right? And I'm posting these things on Ko-fi here. All this stuff is free. I don't post articles that are paywalled. I don't paywall any of my patches or anything like that. But if you'd like to, buy me a coffee, please feel free to do so. I would really appreciate it if you're enjoying, the work that I'm doing and the patches that I'm putting out and stuff like that. It just my Japanese translation that I've been doing has not been as lucrative as I've been hoping. So I can use any assistance. It's very appreciated. No pressure, but I just wanted to put that out there. I also did a little update to Welcome to Pia Carrot. This is for the PCFX, and this is a patch that David and I put out way back in 2009. It doesn't feel like that long ago, but it was quite a while ago at this point, and things have changed a little bit. So now that I have access to this AI, I basically just pointed it directly at the patch file itself. One thing I wanted to do is like preserve the David's original patcher that he wrote and be able to basically just use it as is and apply the patch just like we have been to the original ROM image, um, but fix a couple minor issues that I thought maybe we could get by with not, having to create a new patcher basically to apply the patch. So what I did is basically I had these lowercase OKs, and in the ensuing time, I've realized that that is really just not a grammatically correct way to write OK. So I've gone for okay in all caps. And seriously, if you play through this, if you're me and you're the one who translated this, they say okay so many times and it annoys the living heck out of me. So I'm so glad to have been able to change this. Again, this is just another style thing. Geez, I originally spelled this Geez, um, and you can do that, but it's a euphemism for Jesus, G's, and I this is the style that I use in all of my translations. If somebody is saying this from here on, I'm really happy to have been able to fix this again. I use this all the time in this script, so that is now fixed. Another thing probably is going to be more significant to people. If you've seen a playthrough or if you've played the game yourself, you've probably seen like half an A hanging out on the screen right about here, or actually, I guess more like right about here, um, for significant amounts of time. The reason I found out is Kaori Tachibana, the trailing A here, it just barely extended beyond an area where this menu clears the sort of graphical area when you close the menu, and for whatever reason this was just extending beyond that, so it would linger on the screen. It's really annoying, right? So I thought about, well, what could I do about this, and really I just removed the space, so there's no gap, and that's not going to happen anymore. Does it look as good? No. But what else could I have done? Abbreviated her name, et cetera, et cetera. This just seems like the obvious choice, right? It was also really simple to implement. And yeah, I've tested this in Mednafen, and I've tested it on real hardware. I also updated the patching instructions for, just to be a little more modern here in 2026, explaining some things that I think have really tripped people up, which is that this patch was originally released when multi-bin format bin queue files were not common, and it used a single bin queue format dump. Okay, now recently I wanted to recreate this dump, and what I found probably the easiest way for Windows users to do this would be to use the Alcohol 120% free edition version on Windows, and then you just choose the cdrwin image file .q image file format. Okay, so that's basically just going to make a Q file and a bin file, but the bin is going to be one large bin that contains all of the tracks, not separate tracks. Are you going to find this image out in the wild if you're trying to download it? Well, that seems to be the issue, right? But I can't really control that. This is the type of image file that we used for this game, and you can make your own from a disk, or you at least know what to look for. Originally in my old README, I hadn't put hashes for being able to check your bin file to see if it is kind of the right size and just the correct file. So that's there. I also include the instructions right for Mednafen. So I made a whole video about this on this channel, but Mednafen has more robust parity checking, I guess. So in order to get this to work, you have to rebuild the disk sectors. Now, this is something that we probably should have done in the patching process originally, but we didn't do it because there was no reason for us to do it at the time, because it works on real hardware and it worked on David's Magic Engine FX emulator, right? It wasn't until Mednafen came along and does this parity checking that it became an issue, right? For our patch. So basically all you need to do is download another utility called cdmage. I have a link to it here. You choose action scan for corruption. Then once that's completed, you choose action rebuild sector fields, and it'll work in Mednafen. I just tested it out before I released this patch update. So what else have I been working on? Well, if we take a look here, we're gonna go to Mednafen again, and Mahjong Wars. I know this doesn't sound like the most exciting project, but I really like how this is like a goofy mahjong based RPG, right? It has a story, it has random encounters, all of that kind of stuff. It has NPCs with a dialogue. I'm just going to go ahead and start this up here, and I want to show you guys what progress that I've made on this so far, right? So you can see the menu here is working and translated. We did have to use what we call in the biz squishy tiles. I think the AI used probably a more appropriate term for it, proper term, which was like ligatures, I think, something like that. But anyway, we basically just had to squeeze 2 characters onto 1 tile in order to get something like stats to fit in here without fiddling around with like the menu. Have the menu displays a whole bunch and stuff like that. Now, not all of these things are translated in their sub-menus, right? I don't even really know. I guess item just shows your items, but stats has, level and item and stuff are still in Japanese. So we're, it's work in progress. But a lot of the dialogue is inserted. So it says, the reason I've asked you to come here is this. Actually, the National Mahjong Club is being attacked by the Underground Mahjong Association's assassins and is facing a crisis. At this rate, the Japan Mahjong Alliance will belong to the Underground Mahjong Association. I need you to fight to cut off the Underground Mahjong at its source. For starters, please head to Momoko's Mahjong Club. So there we go. So you can see, I think that sets the tone, right? Meow meow. Very cute. That this is pretty goofy, right? And I really like that. You can see there's this overworld. We can walk around. We can go into all these different shops and things. So I mean, there's only so many types of locations you can go to. But here's a shop. May I help you? So we've got the buy sell menu working. We've even got some of the items in and working. In fact, I had to playtest this particular thing a whole lot to get it to like function. So we've got, how else may I help you? Which I'm going to change because it's a yes no prompt. I didn't realize that when translating it, but please come again. There's a little graphical glitch there that comes up, which I think we introduced, so I need to address that. But you mustn't lose to something like Underground Mahjong. So this is kind of how you trigger the main story. We're going to talk. This is Momo's Mahjong Club, or Momoko's. Momo's little sister wound up getting kidnapped. Momo went searching for her and hasn't come back. So we need to find Momo so we can find her little sister. Etc. But yeah, so a lot of things aren't implemented in this. Like I said, we have been making a lot of progress. This was the thing, if you look, you checked around your feet, however you didn't find anything, that actually required a little doing. It doesn't seem like some of these things really would, but please go in. Oops, this guy says, huh, who are you again? And this is actually, big spoilers here. This is where we find Momo. Let's go ahead and talk to her. Momoko, my little sister was kidnapped. Please look for her with me. And she actually joins your party. She doesn't actually count as a party member because I think I actually bought that now. Huh, that's cool. So maybe it's not stats. Can you see party members? So if I go to skills, it asks whom, this is also something that we had to mess around with a lot actually. But so is my name, and I can see my skills, which I don't have any. So I don't think she counts as part of my party in that respect, because I think I might be able to see her skills otherwise. But Mama told me not to follow strangers. Okay, so this is a battle encounter. You can see the text here is still in Japanese, and I think all of this is going to be in Japanese. And we have to play Mahjong, right? These are the this is Team Rocket, right, of this game, the whatever it was, the Mahjong Assassins from the Underground Mahjong Association. It's Team Rocket, right? This is so cool. This is fun. So anyway, I'm not all that good at Mahjong. I'm okay. Like I can get around to playing this, but I haven't really messed around with it a lot. But we're getting there. I don't know when this will be released. I've just about run out of credits for this week, so I'm not going to do any more work on this. Um, but yeah, maybe in the next 1, 2, 3 weeks or something, we'll keep an eye on that. And the maybe the last kind of super exciting thing here is I got curious. What about a PCFX game? Now, I've translated the entire script for Power Dolls FX on the PCFX. This is a long running PC tactical strategy game series. It seems really cool. The PCFX version, um, excuse me, I haven't had a chance to play it a lot yet, so I can't speak about the gameplay necessarily, although I have played some. But yeah, it has great music. It's got this cool animated intro here. Um, and yeah, we have made progress on this. It might look a little underwhelming at times, but let's go ahead and take a look here. So we've got campaign scenario and practice stage. So she says, attention. Oh, actually, you know what? On this build of this doesn't show up. Maybe I will show you a screenshot here of what this dialogue looks like. It's not all inserted, but it's tested, and it's a variable width font. Again, the AI gives it what is probably a more proper term, which is a proportional font, right? So, anywho, that is some progress. Okay, so you can see this says omniphase. And some of this stuff is working. We kind of did a lot of work on these menus trying to get stuff happening. So we've got move, arms, data, and well, should be special, right? So obviously, ideally, we would, we have, now that we have made kind of a smaller, somewhat variable width font here, you'd want to just be able to write out the whole thing for special, right? But there are issues in terms of, can you relocate like text and use pointers to access that and stuff like that. And so this is it's the best we've been able to do so far. Possibly it's the best that we're going to do. But yeah, basically, so we can see, the different types of terrain are indicated properly. And yeah, we can kind of scoot around. We've got, again, our arms, our weapons, special or quit. So if I pick this, I can choose to attack, which I don't think there's anything in range. But you can see 3 bomb sites, none planted. This is readable. It could use a little formatting, massaging. But anyway, this is a work in progress, right? And we've been coming right along with it. So I just wanted to share this stuff with you guys. As you can see, I've been making a lot of good progress. And, we're going to see more of that hopefully coming up here in the next few weeks. So we'll keep you updated about that. Like I said, if you feel like tossing me a couple bucks for the work that I'm doing, I'm not gonna, say no. And other than that, I'll catch you guys next time. All right. Hope you're excited about the upcoming, hopefully released translation patches. We'll see. And I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.